MC and there's no name there. And I'm happy for that, to be honest. But a special good morning to all of you. I guess I know most of you. You may not know me. You may hear my voice, but may not know who I am. And that's a good thing. So, good morning. Oh, I wonder, it's an intimate thing, this, not anything to boast or anything like that. But I'm happy to be here, though, to be honest. And before I even go into any chatter, we're going to ask Marion Minot to approach the podium and start us off with a prayer. We need that. We do need that in this country at this present time.
Good morning. Let us go to God in prayer. Dear most righteous and heavenly Father, as we're here in your presence this morning, we give you glory, honor, and praise. We thank you for 10 years, Lord Jesus Christ. 10 years of your support, Lord. We ask, Lord, that you be here with us today. We thank you for your continued guidance, protection, and your strength. And we thank you that, Lord Jesus Christ, as we go forward, you will be with us, with the athletes, with the sponsors, with all the persons represented here today. Thank you. Amen.
Amen. Before we go any further, we're going to have to actually tell you who is at the head table, starting from the immediate left. Should have been Ricky Martin, but he disappeared. His chair represents him, but no, he approaches it. I was wondering. Thank you for coming back. Now, he is a long-time track and field enthusiast, has been around Anthric for a couple of years, more than a couple of years. Enthusiast organizers, whether prep school or high school, and I have a lot of respect for this individual. Beside him is Ricardo Chambers, and if you watch Sportsmax, you may see him on that television now, more than ever, because he's one of the new hosts there. He has been there for a little while, worked at TVJ for some years, before that at KLS Sports Radio. I won't get too much into that. And then beside him is a special lady by the name of Angela Wanda. I didn't know her name changed to Wanda, but it changed to Wanda recently, I guess. But a special good morning to you. Congrats. All right. She is a consumer services manager at Grace. She has been around track and field for many, many years. She has sponsored a lot of track and field development meets. And I mean, I see a couple athletes here without an individual running the national junior record. Maybe if you never had the track and field meets around, you wouldn't actually run that. But guess what? With the assistance of these sponsors, development happens in the country. Beside her is an individual who was a principal at Wilmer's Boys, he's the principal of Kingston College, but he's not wearing those hats today. He's actually the chairman of this development meet, and that is none other than Dave Myrie. No, I don't want anybody to clap, I want one big clap at the end. Because when you clap individuals, some people get a bigger clap than some. So you want everybody to get the same amount of clapping. And beside him is the president of the J3As, who's also a principal for... A good friend of mine, Garth Gale in white. And if you don't know his name, though, I didn't have to say it. You can look at his shirt. His shirt tells you what his name is, Garth Gale, the president of the J3As. Like the shirt, though, Garth. Like the shirt. And beside Garth is a good friend who is an enthusiast when it comes down to sports. What can I say about this young lady, Kadeen Webley, from Digicel. I'm not going to say from any school, but from Digicel. But she's an enthusiast, though, and I respect what she does for an institution on Old Hope Road, and I respect what she does in terms of Digicel for many, many years. Now, hold on, man. Hold on, man. Not clap yet. No, I'm going to change the formation, though. I started from immediate left. I'm going to actually go from that angle and come round. And with a pink shirt, I hope it's pink. I'm not so good at colors. Is it pink? Not the future, but fuchsia. I don't know why they gave me like this, though. You're from John Bisco? Okay, because I have Matthew Hibbert here, and you're not Matthew Hibbert. Oh, no, no, let's hope so. Natalie Blackwood, from Bermudez, Jambisco. Beside her, you have Kelsey Bisland, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, from Excelsior, Jambisco. Well, one thing I like about that name, though, not necessarily Jambisco, but like Excelsior. I just like that name. It's synonymous with a lot of things. Excelsior. Yeah, especially like I went there. Beside her, it is, oh my word, Mrs. Morgan Small. Candice. And persons say I can't write. Morgan Small, Candice, her first name from MDS. And I did not get your name. BCIC Tara Goldburn. Well, you heard it from her, though. Now, we're going to ask everyone to applaud everyone that's here at the head table. Now, this meet has been around for some time, and I'm not going to babble along because we're going to get to the program. We know that persons want to go other places, and persons have to get back to work. But the fact is that this meet is a tremendous meet when it comes on to corporate area and the schools that are represented in the corporate area. Because in the track and field calendar, you'll see Eastern Championship, you'll see Western Championship, and then you'll see Central Championship. However, there's no corporate era championship, but there's a corporate era development meet, which acts like a championship. So in terms of bragging rights, in terms of boasting, in terms of how you want to see your athletes, how they are at the time, this meet is extremely important for the corporate era schools. We see, when you talk about girls, you talk about Central Champs, because those are the schools that are going to dominate girls' championships. And when you talk about the corporate era development meet, you have to look at boys' championships, or should I say corporate era development meet, because those boys' schools are going to dominate boys' championships. So this meet is extremely important on the calendar for track and field, not only in the latter stages, but the development of individuals who represent the schools. So I'm not going to even go further on that. That's how important this meet is. Make it resonate with you guys. So in the meantime, I'm going to ask the event organizer, or one of the event organizers, that's Ricky Martin, to approach the podium. Let me hear what he has to say. Round of applause, please.
Good morning, all protocols observed, the head table. My very good friend to my left, Ricky Chambers. Mr. MC, Sean Fraser. My very good friend, and I call him my big brother, principal of KC, Mr. Dave Myrie. And also my good friend, President for Life, as we call it, Mr. Gart Gill, president of J3A, Kadeen Webley. Sean said it all about Kadeen for sports and what she has done for Digicel and sports. Tara from BCIC, welcome to BCIC. I can say that. They are actually on board. They are one of two sponsors that started with corporate era development meet from day one, BCIC. They are here. Also, Atlas Security, Mr. Miller and Ms. Lisanne Pessoa. My boss, Candice Morgan Small from MDS and from Biscuit Company. Kelsey and Natalie, thank you for coming on board. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Corporate Era Development Meet started in 2014 because we realized the need for this meet. As Sean mentioned earlier, there was the Eastern Championship, the Western Championship, the Central Championship, and there was nothing for Kingston schools, and they were idle. And with a daughter that went to a corporate era schools, when you actually go to the development meet, these schools, especially on the girls' side, tend to shy away from the big schools in the development meets. So they tend to stay at the last seat to compete amongst themselves. So that's one of the reasons why we managed to put it together. Outside of the boys and the excitement, it is actually a cracker. Because then, this meet is actually, the journalist will tell you, this meet actually shows and tells you, it's something for the media that they write about and can predict, right, Sean? The winner of boys championship. And other schools strategize how they can actually dethrone the carpet air champions at the Easter Boys and Girls Championship. So that's the other reason. Today is actually our first official launch for the Corporate Air Development Meet. When we started in 2014, and then the following year, then came on Digicel, hence the Digicel Grand Prix series. And it went on for 7 years. 7 years, 5 years, yes. And it was something really exciting. Also, this meet have a lot to speak about, which I can't go into, because this meet actually introduced Zarnell Hughes to Kingston, or say Jamaica, because he actually ran close to the 200 meter time in the 2014 edition. That same year, Chris Taylor announced that he will actually break the Class 3 record at championship. Right, Prezi? Yes. Calabar also ran a world record for high school at 4x4, beg your pardon, 4x4 in 2018. That's also something to look at. Immaculate swept all 100 meters last year from class 4 to class 1. Something I don't know, Mr. President, if that happened anywhere before at any form of championship. Not on the girls' side, yes. States did that in recent times, right. Right, Kings, yes. No, you have to say the great, Mr. President, you have to say the great Kingston College, sir. Thank you. I'm just being biased today, sorry. My friend says he loves Excelsior because he went to Excelsior High School. Sean, you understand? This meet this year promises to be very exciting. And thankful for Mr. President Gardgill and the J3As. We have a date for ourselves come next week. Come next week, Saturday, Friday and Saturday. It means there's no other meet, no other development meet. So all roads should actually lead to the National Stadium. This year should be also exciting because we are running the 100 meters for boys and girls for 4 classes in the boys and girls Friday afternoon. As the coaches will tell you, during that time, the wind will actually die down. So we should get some amazing times. In our midst, we call him Dr. Speed. Can you stand up for me, sir, please? Yes. Give him a round of applause. Silver medalist at the World Under 20 Championship. We expect big things from Dr. Speed. Right, Dr. Speed? Okay, amen. So who is that? Okay. Bawaji. Am I correct? Bawaji in Krumi. Right. The reality is, with this year when school is back in full swing, and all the schools can actually train, so we expect very good times, especially in our midst. We have Mark Miller. I call him the Antric baby. Why? He started in our prep school, and he won right through. Am I correct, Mark? In track and field, we say he has the whole set of medals. Class 4, Class 3, Class 2, and we expect him to do good. And before I close, I want to say thank you very much to all the sponsors, because without the sponsors, meets like this would happen, and it takes cash to care. And we want to say thank you very much to Miss Angela Grandison Reed from Grace Kennedy. We want to say thanks to Biscuit Company. We want to say thanks to Digicel. We want to say thanks to Nestle, Milo. We want to say thanks to DigiView We want to say thanks to BCIC, Atlas. We want to say thank you for the host, NHT. We want to thank, and if there's any other name, we want to say thank to the J3As. They have been very, very good to us. In the year when we started, I remember Mr. Gale said, we'll give you all the equipments and all the timings, and we'll have the officials work for free. Isn't that a big thing? Can you give me a round of applause, please? Also, today in our midst, we'd definitely like to honor a couple of our sponsors and some people that made this thing happen. I remember Mr. Durant from NBA would have said a speech, we shouldn't have been here, but yes, we are here. And we're about to stage one of the biggest and the best development meet going into the Boys and Girls Championship. And we would like to say thanks to some people who are there with us from day one. Patsy Thomas Davis, Avis Wedderburn, give her a round of applause. I want to say when we started, we had no money. And Patsy would get tents, chairs, tables, and manpower to get this meet running. See her there? Avis Wedderburn, I don't know what to say. I call her my Avis because she's my Avis. But whatever it is, she makes things happen. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I want to say thank you for coming, and we look forward to have a very good meet. Thank you very much.
That's Ricky Martin. A round of applause again for me, please. And a round of applause for Angela Wonder. That's her new name now. We're going to ask Mr. Dave Myrie to approach the podium. Let's see. And come on, man. Clap the man now as him come up.
Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies, Sean Grant. We all know you, by the way. You're saying people don't, we all know you very well. Mr. Chambers, keynote speaker, Ricardo, the voice of both radio and TV. Mr. Garth Gill, president of the J3As. Title sponsor, Grace Kennedy, represented by my good friend Angela here. Members of the media. Schools here represented, coaches as well. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Wow. I like a robust good morning, so let's start again. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you very much. On behalf of the organizing committee, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you all to the launch of the 10th staging of the ANTHRIC Corporate Area Development Meet, affectionately known as Corporate Area Champs. I know sometimes they don't want us to be, or we need to be politically correct and not say that, but I will say that. I'll have the license to say that this morning, the Corporate Area Champs. We're pleased that this meet continues to be a standing feature on the annual athletics calendar. As you all will recall, during the pandemic when meets were being canceled, the organizing committee worked hard with our partners and the relevant government agencies to allow for the opportunity for student athletes to display their talents and continue their development. This has been and will continue to be the focus of our meet and endeavor. I want to explicitly state that putting on a meet like this is no easy feat and requires a lot of time, effort, and sacrifice. We see the end product when we're all sitting in the stadium watching the wonderful performances, but the work behind the scenes is difficult, challenging, and at times thankless. Notwithstanding, the goal of providing opportunities for our athletes to aid their development continues to drive this particular organizing committee. And in this regard, we want to thank our sponsors, including the SDF, and the J3As for their continued support for this particular meet. And, you know, Garth is sitting here, and I must mention that to have gotten this meet on the calendar, because at that time I was sitting in the J3s. Then I think I was first vice president then, yeah. And and it was quite a feat to get this meet on the calendar. We fought hard, Garth fought hard, and here we are. And in fact, I don't think there could be a calendar now without this meet being on it. Something would be wrong. And so again, Garth and the J3s want to thank you for allowing that to happen. In closing, we look forward to 2 days of great competition and a meet that will be well executed. I want to welcome you all again. Thank you for being here, and I hope to see you all at National Stadium. Thank you very much.
A round of applause for Mr. Murray once again. Now, if you have a program, though, and you look on it, we're going to skip some things because some of the individuals who are listed are not here. I don't know if they're going later, but we're going to flow this morning. We're going to continue in terms of presentation. We're going to ask the Grace representative, and that is Angela Wanda, who is the Consumer Services Manager. A round of applause for her, please, because if it wasn't for Grace.
I'm as tall as Mr. Murray as well. Okay, members of the head table, meet organizer, Mr. Ricky, my friend, who sometimes we can't agree, but is all right. But we like to break up to make up, is all right. Coaches, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. And athletes, we can't, without the athletes, we would not be here this morning. Grace Foods and its sister company, Western Union, Moving Money for Better, and World Brands 876, we're really pleased to be a major sponsor for this corporate area development meet, the 2023 staging. And as I've said, since my 17 years at Grace, that we are in it to win it. We are in it for the long haul. We never consider ourselves bandwagonists at all because Gibson is on tomorrow, and we are one of the founding sponsors of Gibsonville, long before some of us were even born in the 1970s, because Gibson is celebrating its 50th year. So we believe that an investment in sports, education, and because I head Grace Kitchen's nutrition, because hungry athletes can't win competitions, and we know that hungry students can't learn. So we have the package, and for this year, we have our newest kid on the block, and you'll see it there in a can. We have it in a bottle, but because of safety, it's the Grace Mighty Malt. It refreshes like no other, full of B vitamins, a quick pick-me-upper. Once you involve that, and you know, B vitamins, and we don't want to get into nutrition, although we have our nutrition hub at Champs. So we see these meats. So we have the products, and we have one for every pocket, one for every pallet. So we see these meats as a conduit to the ISA Grace Kennedy Boys and Girls Champs that we are also title sponsors for. Because we believe that it's from grassroots to greatness. So we will go in the nook and cranny. When there are no other spots, Grace is going to be there. And we always say grace before meals, don't we? And if you don't do that, the food not tastes good. So we expect a great championship. And as I said, that Ricky, charismatic Ricky, he is so passionate about this. And as I say, at Grace, it was a no-brainer when he asked us to be on board again. Even when our budget wasn't ready, we made a commitment, Ricky. I'll leave me breach, I'm going to get myself in trouble. Because this is something that I know, and it's from this meet that I know that the top boys school, that you get the top boys school, and I see some other schools coming up on the girls section, and I know that those schools are your baby as well. That's, yes, I have to say it because the Mac girl magic, because my only daughter went there. Anyway, so let me, that was a disclaimer. But I want to also say that because Grace Mighty Malt, we're so pleased to be there, we are going to honor at the championship the top 5 boys' school. So be it Kingston College, be it Jamaica College, and I know my good friend Katie over there, that's her baby. Jamaica College, Calabar, Excelsior, I'm not leaving out any other, but we know the top five boys' school from last year. Woolmer's boys. How must I forget that Mr. Mary was also the principal? So the top 5 schools will be honored. And we will continue to invest in Jamaica because we always say this. Whatever is good for Grace Kennedy, and whatever is good for Grace Kennedy is also good for Jamaica. So we expect records to tumble. We expect the next world beater to come from this meet. So whether it's our own ambassador, Shelley and Fraser Price, our own ambassador, Hansel Parchment, the Usain Bolts of this world, and we, as I've said, as long as I'm going to be there, and I'm sure that my successor, I'm ready to hand over the baton to her to know that this is something that no matter what, the budgets will always be made available. And I know we never have enough money, but Ricky, we're going to see if we can search the kitty and see what we can come up with.
No, man. No make the clap dance, man. Clap hard, man. That's Angela Wanda of Grace, who is the Consumer and Services Manager. And it's from the sponsor's remarks. No. Well, I know you too long. All right, the next individual we're going to ask to come to the podium is the president of the J3As, Mr. Garth Gale. Round of applause for him, please. Well, I'm glad. Hold on. I'm glad I don't have to adjust the microphone now when Garth Gale comes to the podium.
Ladies and gentlemen, athletes, coaches, partners, and I want you to listen keenly. They mentioned, yes, I'm also a school principal. It's not the best of moments for me now. But with God at my side, all will be well. But I have never been someone to shy away or hide from anything, because I know that whatever I do it with God at the front and God at my side and God behind me. And duty of care is why I have stayed with teaching for over 40 years. But this is not the moment for speaking as a school principal. It is indeed a pleasure being here this morning at this launch, the 10th anniversary of the Antrim Corporate Area Development Meet. And yes, Headmaster Myrie, when I was in his office at 2A North Street, I told him, sir, as long as I'm in your presence, regardless of whatever position or state of life I would be in, you are the headmaster. And that is why I will refer to you. When we are in our private little, then it's Master Dave Myrie. Ricky would have mentioned, Headmaster would have mentioned, it was a tricky Ricky moment when the letter first came to my desk. Then I was honorary secretary for approval of this event. It was coming at a time when members of the then executive pondered another track meet. Where are we going to put it? And if you count the number of Saturdays from January to Boys and Girls Champs, and you look at the number of events, you ask how we do it each year. But that's the level of commitment from the J3As. This meet will allow us a preview of our junior athletes leading into Boys and Girls Championships. So it is really the corporate area championships. I may get into trouble at my next executive meeting, but it's a lot I can take. The organizers of this meet deserve praises. And you can't be too many praises to give to them and shower to them. Did I say? Just being troublesome. In how they've been able to persevere and keep every year a successful staging of this event. Partners, you would like to know how proud I am in my second year as president, because time is tough. It's not easy to find sponsorship funds. And when I look at the array of partners, and you notice I'm repeating the word often, because it is a partnership. For us at the J3As, for every company that invests in all of these meets, it's part of the development of the sport of track and field. And you have been doing it for 10 years. It is true. We have had our moments, some rough ones too. And I would have said, and it's not today to be, let's move on. We're not in church, so we're not. But there have been rough moments. But Ricky and his team continues each year to deliver. And at the end of the day, it's all about the athletes. Students of Jamaica College, let me big you up. Fervit, two beautiful young ladies. St. Andrew. St. Andrew. St. Andrew. The St. Andrew. And Boache. How proud I am of you. I watched you in Cali, Colombia. And we actually took the bus going to the finals. You would have spoken to me. I'm so proud to see you still in the purple and white. So proud. And he understands. He understands. But, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think we really recognize the prowess of that young man. With all the antics of the eventual winner, he kept his cool and went to the tape. A silver medalist, so he is at the best of the world and under 20 last year. So it has been a struggle and labor that has contributed to the success of these events from its inception. The growth is comparable to the development of our track and field prowess. Third in the world. I'm not the guest speaker, so let me hurry up. We principals can talk, headmaster. We anticipate with enthusiasm our junior athletes displaying strong performances that will help them prepare not only for boys and girls championships, the Carifta Games in Nassau, Bahamas, over the Easter, and I'm looking forward to seeing some. I know many of you will be on that team. Beautiful. As well as the NACAC under 18, under 23 in Costa Rica later in the year. And so I'm now closing. It is my privilege once more to extend greetings and best wishes for a successful staging of the corporate area development meet. And Ricky, you have a good way of tricking me each year. And I'm going to get into trouble. But we stand by you from the inception, and we will never let you flounder. So again, we will be there to assist you with equipment, just for a small puts. God bless you all. Thank you.
President of the J3As, Garth Gill. At least has raised a bit though, Ricky. You got it free the first year. Just a little tulips this year, so you're good to go. But I was listening to Garth Gill's address though, and he mentioned about the athletes that are expected to be on the Carifta team. And I saw some adults nodding their head like they are planning to be on the team. So I don't know about that though. But I think he was addressing the youngsters. As Jamaica performed extremely well when they hosted the Carifta Games last year. And it's just something which is a real treat. But the next individual who's coming up to the podium is not President Keith Wellington. He's missing in action, President of ISA, but is our special keynote speaker. And this individual, I've known since 2008. It's a long, long time, Ricky? Yeah, I think so long. I worked at, still work? No, I don't work there anymore. Do I work? Well, actually, I work at KLS Sports Radio. And funny enough, as I look in the audience, I see an individual who left while Ricky came. It's a funny thing. But the funny thing is, 2008, Stratton Palmer, who's a past president of the Kingston College Old Boys Association, heard a youngster, and we were having the coverage of the Olympic Games in 2008 in studio. So he invited the youngster to the studio, which was a young Ricardo Chambers, teenager. And Ricardo Chambers came on and took the world by storm in terms of his knowledge, in terms of the athletes, the then athletes. He was outstanding on the radio. Now, he had that stint doing the coverage of the Olympic Games. At the end of the Olympic Games, we were all part of the coverage, we were all part of the team. I was there a couple years before, but I was on the road doing the road work, if you want to call it that, going to Asafa Paul's house, going to Usain Bolt's house, going to Shelley and Fraser Price's house, everybody's house, Million Walker's, yeah, call it that. Now, the fact is that when the broadcast was over, all the listeners kept calling the station and calling me, asking, who was that youngster? Who was that youngster? No, nobody called me asking how I did. But everybody kept calling me, asking for me by name, and said, boy, who was that youngster you had on? I say, the young youth, Ricardo Chambers, him just leave Calabar. No, man, get him back, man. So Tony Young made a decision, who was the programs manager at the time, asked me to go hunt him down and to look for him, so which I did. I went to his house, looked for him, asked him if he wanted to work. I don't own it, but I offered him a job. Wasn't my place to do that, though. But the next couple of weeks or 2 weeks, he was working at KLS. And from that, he has grown. To see his growth throughout the years, from starting there, as he came in the first day, we put him on air. From that, then he left KLS after a couple of years, went to TVJ or RJR, and then after that, he's at Sportsmax. Ricardo Chambers is one of the most brilliant commentators you'll ever hear anywhere in the world. I always tease him that he knows 2 sporting disciplines, that's it, in terms of commentary. Well, that's okay. But he is. And trust me, I've been proud of him from day one. I mean, when he was at KLS, he got a journalist award, young journalist award at that time, and he has grown ever since that time. If you watch the Olympics on Sportsmax, though, he was a commentator on the Olympic Games on Sportsmax, and was he brilliant? Was he brilliant? And the fact is, I've told him something from he was young at KLS, and I've always held that. A question he asked, what I won't tell you now, in terms of commentary and Jamaicans and the world. And I say this not much, though. Whenever a lot of persons get fooled by, you can call it twanging. A lot of persons listen to commentary, and because someone has an accent, they think they sound good. They think they sound great. But when you get into commentary and you break it down, you realize they're chatting a lot of rubbish. And that's fact. But you have to get into it, you have to know what it is. But because of the fluidity of the twanging, many may say, but that's the respective accent, that's why you think it's great. Ricardo Chambers' commentary on the Olympic Games was the best. Was the best. And I listen to commentary around the world because that's my job, and it was the best, par none. By the way, I never tell him that before, though. First time I hear. Well, let's take a round of applause for Carter Chambers. My bad.
I always tell people that I'm an extremely shy person. Yes, so we start there. Master of Ceremony, Sean Grant. As Sean said, Sean was one of my very first supervisors working anywhere when I worked at KLAS. And Sean was an extremely hard taskmaster. Still is. Yeah, I remember one particular evening, Sean wanted me to read something and he wanted me to do it a particular way. And for some reason, I could not get it. And he had me there for however long just trying to get it until somebody just walked into the room and said, Sean, we're not left for you. And yeah, that was just Sean. But Sean, thank you very much because those early years really helped to get me to where I am today, and I appreciate that. So thank you very much. And I appreciate the kind words. Members of the head table, good morning to you all. Have to single out a few people. Ricky Martin, who has been an amazing person. I met Ricky probably about 10 years ago now, if not a little bit more. And Ricky has run prep school events, now the corporate area development meet at the high school level, and I gather sometime this year you're going to be having a basic school champs? Prep school? Kindergarten. Okay. There you go. So we look forward to that. Angela, Wanda. My mother's name is Angela, and she only uses Grace. We're not allowed to bring anything else in the house. It has to be Grace. I have to single out Kadeen Webley as well of Digicel because who knows, one of these days she might be my boss. Plus, whenever Sportsmax wants to do major events, we have to go to Kadeen for Kadeen to go to the people with the money for us to get the sponsorship. Mr. Garth Gale, we've known each other for a very, very long time. Mr. Dave Myrie. I heard a lot about Dave Myrie before I actually met him. So when I was in high school, like very, very early in high school, probably grade 7, Dave was the headmaster at Woolmer's. And I heard quite a lot about him and how much of a disciplinarian he was. So initially, when I met him in person, I was quite afraid of him. I would try and stay at a distance. So it has taken me a few years to warm to him. But yeah, he's a top man for a top school, doing some top things. So. Oh, wow. Wow. I won't ask how old you are, Mr. Myrie. No, well, good morning, everyone. Good morning to good morning to all those who have helped to make this meet possible over the years. Because the truth is, it has not been easy. This meet for me is the epitome of persistence, of perseverance. I remember when this meet started in 2014, and I don't know how many of you would know, but this meet, it's 2 days now, but the meet actually started as a one-day event. One-day event. There was only one event where you had heats and finals. I don't know, anybody can tell me what that event is? The 100. And I remember the very first year, I was working at TVJ at the time. I actually couldn't come for the entire day. But I got my videographer, Higgins, and at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, we were at the National Stadium getting ready to capture the 100 finals. But that was the first year. All the other events were timed finals. I remember a particular year when the meet was at UWI. I remember years when the meet struggled to find a venue. I remember one particular year, and I think this was immediate, well, I can't even say I was like about 11 o'clock. I think the meet was supposed to start at, is found a way to make it happen. And that's why I say for me, the meet is the epitome of persistence and perseverance, because the truth is, they could have stopped a long time ago. It's so easy, especially in today's world where the modus operandi is really that you get success and you get it quickly. And if you're not successful the first time, then that's it. It didn't work out. Let's move on with our lives. Let's try something else. But this meet has been the exact opposite of that. Because every single time there has been a challenge, they have found a way to get over it. Yeah? And it's not always the same challenge, yeah? It's not always the same challenge. I won't go too much into it, but, you know, Garth, you spoke about some of how tricky it was when the meet, or the idea of the meet first came on your table. And I'm sure I can at least say this. There was opposition in some quarters for having this meet. Yes, some would say strong opposition. There was a lecturer of mine who said that sometimes you should just stay away from the adjectives. So I'll just say there was opposition in some quarters. But despite all the opposition, this meet has always happened. And the richness that has come out of this meet, for me, is absolutely beautiful. Now, as a commentator, I know that I have had some of the best moments commentating on this meet. Of course, 2018 stands out, not just because I went to Calabar, but because the high school record at 4x4 was a special achievement. It's not often as a commentator you can say you did a world record, whether it's a world junior record, a senior record, or a world high school record. And that was such a special moment for me as a commentator. Strangely enough, I wasn't even commentating that race. I was actually the analyst. I had just gone to Sportsmax. I was actually less than a year into Sportsmax. It was actually my first meet doing commentary for Sportsmax when I did the corporate area development in 2018, and I was acting as the analyst because we were still trying to work out how our formations would go, because it was essentially a pretty new team. But yeah, that was a special achievement. That year as well, or the following year, Wayne Pinnock breaking the 110 hurdles record, Wayne Pinnock performing in the long jump. Some of my favorite performances, and especially with Wayne, and I know the KC people will like this, especially with Wayne, because I think in many ways, Wayne's story was synonymous with the meet. Because I remember when Wayne was in class 3 and he hurt his hamstring for the first time and was out for a little while. And a lot of individuals thought that, yeah, that was it. Another super class 3 talent who won't transition. And then his return was so much greater. So it was, just for me, an awesome juxtaposition of what Wayne embodied and also what the meet embodied. And then there have been the battles on the girls' side. So we've spoken so much about how corporate area champs is about seeing a lot of the top boys' schools. But in many ways, it is actually more important for the girls' teams, because this is an opportunity for them to win a title that they will unlikely get at the National High School Championships. So when Excelsior comes out, when Immaculate comes out, when the Queen School comes out, when St. Andrew comes out, this is their opportunity, not just to win individual medals, but a wonderful chance to lift the team trophy. And to me, that is awesome, because this meet has provided them that opportunity. And I know that we say the meet is affectionately called Sir Myrie Corporate Area Champs. But I hope in the very near future we will be able to officially say we're going to Corporate Area Champs. And I trust that between Mr. Myrie and the President, Mr. Garth Gale, it will happen. And with the sponsors pushing for it to happen as well, then I'm confident that it will happen in the near future. And this meet will be given the status officially that it deserves, because it is a wonderful event. It is an amazing event. And each year, definitely as journalists, we look forward to it. I always tell people there are a few meets I cannot miss when it comes on to trying to determine who is favorite to win champs. The corporate area champs. I like that. The corporate area development meet is at the top of that list for me. Yeah? Because it has been exactly that. I want to take the next few minutes, and I'm only staying for the next few minutes, to speak directly to the athletes who are here this morning. And I have a lot to say, but I'll try and keep it as short as possible. I'm going to go to my notepad for the first time. That's how much I have to say on this one. Number one, I talk about the corporate area meet and what it embodies: the persistence, the perseverance, the never say die attitude, the never give up attitude, the brave may fall but never yield. Whichever motto you want to use, it's perfect. As you grow older, and I'm sure Mr. Myrie can tell you, you get to understand and appreciate even more that at every stage of your life, you will have to deal with different challenges. There's no stage of your life that comes without a challenge or many challenges. When you're 17 and 18 years old, the challenge is completely different from when you're 35, and it might be more different when you get to 50 and even when you get to 60 and 70. But it doesn't reduce the importance of any of those challenges to the individual or individuals who are faced with them. They're important. The challenge that Boaji and crew may face is as the national junior record holder at 100 meters and the man that everybody is gunning for this season. Not everybody will be able to identify with it, but it's significant for him. And it is something that he has to deal with. It is something that the individuals around him have to help him deal with. But it's a significant challenge. The challenge is that Headmaster Myrie face at Kingston College, again, the 17-year-old might not understand a lot of them. The 17-year-old will go, oh, I'm to Mr. Myrie, man, what am I take this thing for? But for Mr. Myrie, understanding what is down the road and understanding what he is trying to achieve for the growth of an institution, it becomes a significant challenge for him. And so at every stage of your development, every stage of your life, you will be faced with challenges. And so it now becomes about how you deal with those challenges, how you take on those challenges head on, how you find a way to overcome the difficult times and the difficult periods that you are through, that you're going through. And for me, I also always say, how you find a way to enjoy yourself through those difficult times. Because here's what I'll tell you. As soon as you come out of one challenge, you're heading into another one. So the moment you're not enjoying yourself through challenges, it means that you're going to struggle to enjoy yourself through life. Yeah? Because that's just how life is. For me, life is a series of challenges that you have to find ways to navigate and to overcome. That's what this meet has done. And that's my charge to everyone here today, and especially to those athletes, because they're still at that stage where your future is before you. The greater part of your life is still ahead of you. Enjoy it. Enjoy every stage. Embrace the challenges. Yeah? Don't shy away, because it means that you will be shying away from life. Before I go, something I have to say quickly. Now, this is a personal policy. But for a long time, I told myself that I would never do, as a journalist, as a creative, I told myself that I would never do features on athletes who are under 15. So I always told myself that once an athlete was under 15, and part of the reason for that is that I always felt that an athlete needed time to grow as an individual before they were broadcast in such a way. I'll give you an example. I remember some years ago, and I won't call the name, but it's a female athlete, and she is a stunning athlete away in university now. But before she got to high school, she was probably like about 9 or 10 years old. And her primary school coach called me, and he said, listen, I have an athlete, and I want you to do a feature on her. She is going to be the best thing to come out of this country. And I said, sure, no problem. Who is she? He told me, and he told me her age. And I said to him, keep working with her, man. Keep working with her. Let her grow. When she got to high school, her first year in high school, she was in the global press. And he called me again. And he said, see me tell you? See me tell you, say she did I go big? I said, no problem. Let her grow. For the next 2 or 3 years, we heard very little to nothing about her. And the things we did hear about her were mostly negative things. See it there? She done. Eat that fear. Run fast a class 4. That's it. And I thought to myself, this is exactly what I wanted to avoid. This is exactly what I wanted to avoid. once you put an athlete out there, you can't take it back. And this now is for the coaches, it's for the parents, it's for the managers, it's for the principals. Once you put an athlete out there, there is no taking it back. And it's the athlete who is more often than not left to deal with everything that is thrown at them. Now, don't get me wrong, it doesn't matter what level you are at, things will be thrown at you. But is a 12-year-old going to be ready for everything that's thrown at them? Is a 13-year-old going to be ready for everything that's thrown at them? Is a 14-year-old going to be ready for everything that's thrown at them? It's unlikely that at that stage where there is still so much developing to do, that some of them will even understand some of the negatives that are being thrown at them. And so I see it as our responsibility, and I've always taken that as a reporter, that is part of my responsibility to help protect those who cannot protect themselves. And that's where the managers come in, that's where the coaches come in, that's where the parents come in. Because again, it is so easy to think about that get-rich mentality. I have a fast son, I have a fast daughter, this is a Puma contract waiting to happen, this is money waiting to happen. But I promise you, if you do it the right way, the money will come. If you are patient enough, the money will come. If they are good enough, let's be honest, even some of our senior athletes are not quite ready to deal with some of the battering that they receive. And if your senior athletes are not ready, how do you expect your 13 and 14 and 15-year-olds to be ready? And this is also where I charge the schools as well. Put programs in place, not just to help these boys and girls to run fast, but to help them to be ready for life. To help them, you go abroad. And that's a responsibility that for me schools have. And yes, I know it's a difficult job because I know that there is a lot that has to be done to keep an entire institution running. But you do a brilliant job of getting them to run fast. So I have no doubts, none at all, in your ability to prepare them for life. You have to make the conscious decision as adults, as leaders, that this is how we're going to go about doing it. And you won't capture all of them. And you won't get it right with every single one of them. And not every one of them will appreciate it in the moment. But 5 years later, 10 years later, 15 years later, maybe even 20 years later, they will come to you and they will say, "Sir, Miss, I understand what you were trying to tell me 20 years ago." And it makes a difference. Even if you don't catch them now, what you say now, what you do now, how you treat them now, can and quite often eventually has an impact on how they live their lives. And the final thing I'll say, athletes, and this is important, take an interest in your own development. Take an interest in your own growth. Take an interest in your own pathway. Now, I've been covering champs since I was in high school, which was, my first champs was 2007, when I was in high school. And I've heard so many stories of athletes saying to me, "I got hurt in my last year. I got hurt in my last champs, and that was that. Never heard from anyone at the school. Nobody cared about me after that because my time was finished. I couldn't give them any more points. I don't know where I'm going to go next. I don't know where to start. I want to go to school, but where do I start? Take an interest in your future. Don't wait until you get to your final year. Have options. I always tell people the great thing about having options is that you get to decide. Not somebody else deciding for you. Because the moment you don't have an option, it means that somebody else is deciding for you. Create options for yourself. From early, what you will require to take a particular path. And it doesn't mean that that is the path that you will eventually take, but it means you have the knowledge that you will need just in case that is the way you want to go. Find out how you get into the NCAA system. Find out what the requirements are for whatever school you may want to go. Find out the pros and cons if you decide to go pro. Just find out. Knowledge is power. What you do with the knowledge is then completely up to you. Because what they sort out for you eventually at the last moment when you have no other option will not necessarily be what you want. Have options. Have options. I remember, and I won't call the school, there was this young man, good athlete, decent athlete. In my opinion, should comfortably be getting a scholarship. And I kept asking him what was happening with school. It's okay. Coach says he'll sort it out. Next week, what's the latest with school? He said, all right, man, coach says he'll sort it out. And that was it. Coach said he'll sort it out. Coach is still sorting it out, by the way, and it's not sorted out yet. And this is 5 years later. Don't fall into that trap. Create options. Thank you very much.
Exact word, Patsy. Exact word. Now, could you give a round of applause to the shy guy? Now, Ricardo, if that's how you actually speak when you're shy, well, guess what? We're coming to the end of the launch, and athletes, I hope you heard what Ricardo stated or what he had said, because it's very, very important. It's extremely important. So don't make it go through one ear and the next. Listen to what he says. It's unbelievably true. We called a name earlier on, though, but we have to give some accolades. I have to mention him again, and that's Matthew Hibbert from Milo. Can you stand for me, Sir Hibbert? Round of applause for one of our sponsors. When I called your name earlier on, you were missing in action. I don't know if you went to mix some Milo to come back. Yeah, man. But big up to you in terms of your sponsorship, and we hope that you keep on being a part of our family. All right, I'm going to ask Ricky to stand because we have some surprises. I'm going to say my name on them, but all right. As per usual. I'm going to ask you to stand beside the plaques, actually. We're going to ask a representative. I don't know if that individual is here, or individuals from medical disposables and supplies. Representing awards to individuals who have been with us for a very long time. And I think she has been around for 8 years. And we want everybody who get a plaque, want to clap for me now, please. All right, thank you, Candice Morgan Small from MDS. And from Grace Kennedy, asking the representative to approach. Well, the new name now is Wonder Woman. Consumer Services Manager, Angela Wanda. Or Wanda. From Digicel, and Grace has been with us for 7 years. Digicel representative. When you reach up, Katie, I'll not mention your name. It was Katie in Webley. Outstanding. Well, I have here 9 years. 9 years. Wow. She's what? Thank you. Thank you very much. Atlas Security. A representative. Mr. Miller. Damon is first name. 10 years. So hold on. This is the 10th year. And I've gone 10 years already. And this one's supposed to be another special one. Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association, the representative, the president, Mr. Garth Gale. As Garth Gale. Round of applause again. And the name I did not mention earlier on from BCIC. Tara Goldberg. Mrs. Goldberg. I've been around for 10 years. Is Avis Wedderburn here? Avis Wedderburn. Has been around from creation. 10 years. So we also have some special awards. We're not finished just yet. We're going to ask again, and now I'm going to mention your name because you're not representing a company. Katie Webley. And a special good friend of mine, a young lady at heart who seems to be very busy every single time you go to the National Stadium. Patsy Thomas Davis. All right, I think that's it, Ricky. You sure you don't have any more award? Well, I was looking for Grace Borough, who is a patron for the meet, I know she's Campion College coach. And boy, I'm just saying the names all over. From Campion College, has been in the field for 40 years, over 40 years. Outstanding, because normally you don't see a particular individual stay in one particular thing for over 10 years, much less 40. So for you to have that, it's all about determination, all about love, all about guts, all about heart, all about patience. So although she's not here, a round of applause to our patron. Well, I guess we have to apologize, do we? We have to apologize. The Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, their logo is not there, but they are also a sponsor of this meet. So we do apologize for not having their logo up top, but the minister should have been here though, but I guess she arrived last night, yeah, so she couldn't come. But we do apologize for not having their emblem. But guess what? As how it started, it will end. It's all about track and field. It's all about this development meet. And 2023, I think, will be the best you've ever seen, which will happen at the National Stadium Friday and Saturday. And I think it will be more than entertaining. It will be mouth-watering. I'm going to depart. I was happy to be here, but I'm leaving you with what this meet is all about.
So Grant is stepping away from Wolvers Ellis. It's Kiara Grant showing class here. Many wondered if she could step up in class big, and she does. It's Kiara Grant ahead of Ellis, and third may just be Richard. So clean start this time first, I'm asking Shauna Helps, the new patron as the lead. It's Shauna Helps showing her class here coming to the line. Shauna Helps ahead of Williams of the Immaculate. Let's see who is third. It's Helps, Williams, and from Kemper down, Crawford. The top three in the girls' class 100 meters. But Shauna Helps shows her form with just about 4 or 5 weeks to go before champs.
6 for Shane Nelson Tarrant. Lane 7 of Dane Bernard Donald Quarry. And in lane 8, you have seen him at the Western Champs. At the Western Relays, representing KC, Sarnan Hughes making his 200-meter debut. Off and running, the Anguillan expected to take this one. You have company Bernard already. Hughes running strongly. Hughes will take the field into the straightaway. The man Sarnan representing KC. The champions, this is the end. Also the time champion is Sarnan Hughes. Look at that run. Quite easy for him. He takes it ahead of Bernard, Donald Curry, and third to Minot of St. George's College. 20.00 seconds, the winning time for Sarnan Hughes. Statement name for champs. Ladies and gentlemen, look out for him. 20.80 seconds. And in lane 8, Crystal Robertson, UC. Looking to stamp her class in the 200 meters. Easy does it. It's KC to the final line, running S, Ontario JC, trying to keep up, but it's far of Kingston College who's going to take this one easily. Part of a crack class 2 team from the North Street Institution, and Daniel Land brings the first lead.
They are the top 10 for the 400 meters class 3 girls.
East South first time of asking. West South for the local people that she finds. East South members trying to come up with it. But now here they explain that we advantage. Let's go for East.
Teammate trying to go with her, that's Mahadir. On the inside is Williams of the Queen's School, but no one is getting to Hazley.
Well, I think we're going to go to the final race, though, which is a record breaker. Ricardo Chambers mentioned it earlier on. And that record...
They will run against the clock in this one based on the fact that Kingston College no longer in it. Start by Anthony Carpenter. It's a comfortable one, already stamping.
At the Camperdown Classic on Saturday, he also ran a personal best at 400 meters, 46.46. So he's in the form of his life right now, Anthony Carpenter.
Yeah, he will hand over now to Christopher Taylor. Comfortable along the back straight with a lead of about, 30 meters. Stretching that lead.
Would finish second at 4. And a 46.9 as well. The former St. George's man with a massive lead for Calabar now.
Yeah, the lead is about 60 meters, I reckon, now. And just one more leg to go. This was always going to be a race against the clock. I believe that they are on record pace here. This is the final leg for Calabar.
The 400-meter hurdles champion, Malik James King, has the baton. He's been part of Calabar teams for the last season and a half. Usually is the man who is on the second leg. Today, he gets the opportunity to have the glory leg. That's the anchor leg, 200 meters to run.
The gap now about 80 meters. It's incredible running by Calabar in the final event of this corporate area meet. The Prince, James King, running home with this one. All eyes on the clock. 3:14.75 is the record. I believe that's going to be shattered here inside the National Stadium. James King crosses it. 3:05.07. What a time!
That's one of the fastest we've ever seen at the high school level.